So lesson learned, you can't spiritually guard yourself from the sun.
You can't?
No.
No?
No. But
Okay.
honestly, I thought for a second that I was cursed. I was like, someone hexed me or something because I should not have gotten a sunburn. But that's okay. I did a little reversal candle, so
Then you're dialed.
I'm good.
I love it.
I'm good now.
So, hello.
Hello.
You want to introduce yourself to their audience?
Hi, audience. My name's Melia Ennis. You can find me. I'm Mystical Melia. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? You're going to find out a lot about me right now. I'm an open book. For those of you who are astrologically inclined, I'm a Pisces, I have a Taurus moon, and I have a Virgo rising. So that helps anyone get to know me a little bit better. There you go.
But so you said you're a well, it's funny because I think right off the bat, just by introducing yourself with the astrological signs, that kind of says a little. Oh, I broke the chair. Great. All right.
That's okay.
I'm just gonna vibe with it. Just by introducing yourself, you introduced your astrological sign, and we are here because the crystal stuff, the astrological stuff, the Reiki stuff, that is all a big part of who you are.
Yes.
And I guess we could start off by saying, how did you get into all of this stuff? And
Well,
what is stuff?
Yeah, stuff is energy, which is like the most infinite word. It's so hard. I was actually talking to my sister about this the other day, and we were saying, people ask her what I do, and she says, I have no idea. I don't even know what to say my sister does.
Yeah.
And even last time I was here and meeting new people, when they ask me what I do, I have such a hard time really putting it into words because it feels like I do a lot of things, but in the end, I just help people however I can. And for me, that modem is through Reiki, which is a form of energy healing, or through crystals, or through tarot, or through just communicating. I have my degree in psychology and did a little stint at a therapy office, and now I'm getting my PhD in integrative medicine. So I'm finding a lot of natural ways to help people is really what I want to do. But that's how my whole life has been. My mom was a masseuse, and my dad is spiritual. My whole family is very spiritual. We would pull cards before preschool. Like, we would pull little angel cards before we went to elementary school. I've been surrounded by divination and herbal medicine my whole life. So it was really natural for me to get into it. And then kind of what sped things up a little bit was knee surgeries. I was a competitive soccer player. That was my masculine energy. And 3 knee surgeries happened, and medicine wasn't helping. I had nerve problems, and I went and saw a Reiki practitioner, and it changed my life. Like, literally, I was getting mobility back. My depression was going away. I was finding identity again. And that healing just from someone holding the space for me and literally just touching me, I was baffled, and I didn't tell anyone about it at all because I thought they would think I was crazy, which, you know, some people do genuinely think it's crazy and that you're a nutcase. But that experience, I think I was like 13. Oh my goodness. Then I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I've experienced it. I've had my moment. I know it works because it worked for me. And I think that's the case usually with energy healing, is the second it works for you, then you really believe, which is the case with most spiritual things. I mean, belief stems from experience. And that's why I want to share with so many people, because then more people see that, yeah, it works, and something does happen when you just have intention and you sit with someone and share your energy. It's beautiful. So yeah, then I graduated high school early, went to college, and then in the midst of all that, got my Reiki practicing license, and then master, and then I went to India and studied there, got my teaching credentials there, and just learned a lot there about spirituality and my practices, and honestly injustice a lot too. And this is actually something I'm trying to speak more about, just for society as a whole. When I was in India, I really noticed, I saw a white woman buying the statues there to bring them back here and sell them for 5 times the cost, you know. and the temple's not making any money. And lots of my practices, even using the chakras, are taken from Hindu religion, Hindu culture. So I want to say to the audience, I want to acknowledge that I'm a white woman and the topics I'm going to discuss stem from other religions, stem from other cultures. I have resources on my website to help India, to help Hindu Americans. So yeah, if anyone wants to say anything about resources they think I should get involved with, my email is mysticalmelia@gmail.com. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Good preliminary
yeah,
statement.
just put that out there. I want to just pay my respects to the cultures that I am, pulling inspiration from, pulling knowledge from. Just do my best to give back.
So it sounds like a lot of this stemmed from your family.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit how they introduced you to what you do now and how you built on top of what they introduced you to?
Yeah, honestly, it's really special, and it's something that as I get older and start thinking about, when I have kids, how I'm going to go about this. Like,
how old are you real quick?
I'm 20.
Okay, you're 20.
I just think ahead of my time.
Yeah.
But just because I am friends with older people that, are thinking about getting pregnant, all these things come up where I'm like, wow, I think ode to John and Dory, I feel like they did it so perfectly, where there was no pressure to really get into the things that they were into. It was kind of just more so there if I was interested.
Mm-hmm.
And the second I really needed it, there was more of a conversation of, hey, I think this is maybe a path that you might want to go down. My dad had been seeing that Reiki practitioner for, I think, 2 years. She's a family friend, and they didn't pressure me to go or anything, or it was more just they left the door open for me to step through myself and had the information when I was ready for it, instead of saying, like, this is the way to do it. I mean, when I was younger, I went to church with friends a few times. That wasn't a thing in my family, just to learn more about it, and they were totally supportive of that. Yeah, they just gave me the tools. Like I said, I was surrounded by crystals. I was surrounded by natural medicines. My mom went to holistic health practitioner school, and that was just always the way it was in my family, in such a supporting, loving way where nothing was forced on me. Yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this.
No, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, and I think the second I was interested in it, they were just there to really like boost me up and give their support and help me find the resources I needed to kind of pool my knowledge together. They helped me do my Reiki practicing, pay for that. So it was just really nice to have that support. I know a lot of people that get into spirituality that have parents that are very unsupportive, or
Due to?
just, I think a lot of it just stems from religion and thinking like most of it is
Opposing religion, you mean?
like opposing Christianity,
Yeah.
or opposing God, or whoever said person's believing in. It's hard to kind of open up to those beliefs that, like, okay, I think I am just as much God is God, and I think that tree is just as much God is God. And I think that person around the world is just as much God too. So it changes things. It changes your accountability, I think, which is why a lot of people are scared of spirituality, who kind of live in this world where they go to church and they pray and that's good, which that's beautiful, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I would do that, but I think people who are more stuck in like the blinders of that are afraid to open themselves up, because then it makes you just more accountable to supporting other people, supporting minorities, supporting other countries, supporting other people that are struggling because they're going to the same church you are. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you think that you would have gotten into spirituality the way, so do you describe your journey and like all like this stuff collectively that you now believe in, that's spirituality? What's like a good way to describe it?
I would say it's spirituality, which is so, like, you can't really define spirituality.
It's like ambiguous.
It's super ambiguous, which is like kind of why there's pros and cons to that, because, hi, we have a moth friend again. Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to the word spirituality, because now what I've noticed at least is a lot of people kind of using that word to scapegoat some of their behavior almost.
Okay.
Or there's this term now called spiritual bypassing, where, oh, we're all one, so that excuses my behavior because I can steal from this culture, or I can appropriate this culture because I'm a spiritual person and that's my spirituality.
Yeah.
And we're all one, so it's fine. And I think that's where, like, there should maybe be some, I don't think there needs to be structure within spirituality. I think that's the point. That's why people turn to spirituality. But I think there just needs to be an acknowledgement of where a lot of these spiritual ideas come from. Eastern medicine, Hindu culture, like I was saying. A lot of things get westernized, whitewashed, and profited off of white people. And it's spiritual, so it's fine. So
Yeah, you just put a label on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the word spiritual is ambiguous, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. But for me, the good parts of it are that, like, I really get to expand my knowledge of things. Like, I get to research all these things and apply them into my life without the worry of if it fits into a category of a religion, or if it's okay by that religion even, or if it's approved, or if the information fits. I don't have to, my spirituality isn't a puzzle. Like, it doesn't have to fit together. I can
Yeah.
have a piece here, this chunk, and I can have this chunk, and it all can be integrated the same. And I think that's a problem with, like, more of a patriarchal view of things, is that everything has to fit together and make a structure, and this has to fit here, and then that supports that to support that. But spirituality is really like this pool.
Ambiguous pool.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, that's cool. But so yeah, back to my original question, which was, do you think if your parents
sorry.
weren't no, that's on me. Do you think if your parents weren't into spirituality that you would have found this, or would it have found you? Do you describe it as that, or is it you
Wow.
finding it?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That was a great, yes, good wording on that one.
Thank you.
I love that.
My goal, well, I think my audience knows this by now, but my goal is to have my guest, or the person I'm having a conversation with, say that's a good question at least one time during the interview.
Yay.
So I did it.
You did it.
Let's
You'll probably
go.
do it again. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I've never thought about that, because I've never thought about that. Wow. I think I probably would have found it either way. Just living in Encinitas, living in Southern California, right next to all these metaphysical stores, and surrounded by energy healers, yogis. I think it probably would have found me, like you're saying, somehow. I'm happy it happened sooner than later. But now, honestly, spirituality is becoming a big thing. I mean, even just on TikTok, like, crystals are blowing up. All of a sudden, everyone wants crystals. I think I probably would have gotten into it eventually. But, wow, that's interesting. I think it would be a whole different story if I didn't have my parents, if I didn't live here. It probably would have happened way later in life, which I think is the case for most people. Is that, or something bad would have had to happen. Like, I really got into my spirituality after knee surgeries, after a breakup. And then I was like, okay, I need some answers. So, yeah, it's so circumstantial. But I think with the friends I have too, I probably would have met them anyways. You know, they're all spiritual. Connections would have been made. It would have found me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talk about how you had that initiating moment when you were 13, where so you're a soccer player, you messed up your knee. Also, what did you do to your knees?
I tore both my meniscuses, and then kind of had a bad surgery, so I had to go back and refix up the right one.
Wow.
Take out some tissue. She had some problems.
Good
in there.
times, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
So do most people who find spirituality in this form, do they have an inciting incident like that a lot of the time, or do you kind of like stumble upon it?
I think the people, at least just from what I've noticed, the people that have more of an incident get really into it really quick and learn a lot very quickly and find the things that they're really drawn to more quickly versus the people I've met that kind of just dabble in it or stumble upon it aren't as soaked in. I think when you have an incident like, you know, maybe someone in your family dying or something happening to you or heartbreak or, you know, addiction, you have a reason to really be there. And you have something that maybe you're actively fighting against, like you're actively fighting the depression that stemmed from that incident or the anxiety that stemmed from that incident. And it's more of a medication of sorts, like an energetic medication, you know, where I'm learning about these things to genuinely help me feel better. And I think people that maybe just stumble upon it don't have as much of a drive to really go
Get
all
into
in
it, yeah.
because maybe there's not as much of a reason. But either way, it's infatuating. So I think it just depends on the person and the time. Honestly, it takes a lot of time to learn about, you know, the meanings of crystals, the meanings of all the tarot cards, A, B, and C. Like, it takes a dedication. Sorry, this wax is melting. It takes a level of dedication and time to really get all the information to even start practicing, to maybe set up an altar or start doing chants or, you know, correctly do a yoga class. And I think that all opens up in the right time, though, too. You find it when you need it, or you have the time when it's the perfect timing.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I know for me it's hard, like wanting to learn these topics and then something coming up where, okay, maybe I have to work or, you know, A, B, and C. And I can't dive into learning all these new archetypes or learning the zodiac sign houses or, you know. But then when that opportunity opens up and you really get to sit down and learn it, it's so rewarding. And then applying it is even more rewarding. And then sharing it with people is more rewarding. So divine timing.
Divine timing.
Divine timing.
That's cool. I like that saying, that phrase. Divine timing. So you just said your process was learning, applying, and sharing.
Yes.
So can you talk a bit about, so you blew your knee, you got surgery, and then you went and saw that Reiki lady.
Yes.
And then that was probably when that learning phase started,
Yes,
right?
That's when I started getting Reiki books, learning about the chakras, learning about more like Hindu gods, because that's what she focuses on too. And
what was she doing in those classes or in those healings, I guess, I don't know what to call it,
Yes.
that like, what were the results that you were seeing from that made you decide, oh, this is what I like was, and would you say, I'm asking so many questions.
No, it's good.
But would you say that you were searching for something because you were lost from, okay, you're injured and had a breakup, so you were like even subconsciously searching for something and then you found that? Or can you like just describe that process?
Yeah, I think the power of what spirituality brought me was I put all of my power into the things that I was doing versus myself. And that first Reiki session, she really like called all of my energy back to me, where it wasn't the identity of a soccer player no more or an ex-girlfriend. I was all together and all compact, and all my energy was called back into me. And all of those ties that made me feel weak or like I was giving and not receiving were cut, and I mean energetically cut. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you know, you feel that when something's really released away from you. And I mean, the immediate result was I felt more confident. My anxiety went away. My depression, you know, was lessened and then lessened and then lessened and lessened the more I learned and applied things to my life, and then the application. But I mean, even just my joints got better. I was literally becoming more flexible. And I think that energetically is literally, I became more flexible to learning new things. And then it showed in my body, which is always so interesting to see when your body starts to match the things you're doing energetically.
So something I think that would be be fun / just like interesting. So what I was thinking about in this is you bought all this stuff.
Yes.
And we obviously are going to play with it and play around with it. Yay. But I wanted to like kind of go through your story and who you are and like doing all those things, but also I want to like mess
play
around
with the
with
things,
the stuff.
the shiny things.
We should play with some shiny things. So do you want to? Hello, GoPro. All right.
Yay.
Do you want to talk
GoPro cam.
about? So what do we want to do first? We got tarot cards, and then you got all these crystals and shenanigans. And then also you pulled these off of a bush over there.
Yes.
Do you want to
I like
say
incorporating
why?
the earth into my altars.
Okay.
Well, first we can talk about altar creation.
Let's talk about altar creation.
You got this?
What? Yeah, yeah, I got this.
So altar creation is, I mean, that's the first thing I did when I got into spirituality. I put all the things that were important to me up on a shelf where I would meditate in front of, pray to. Very quickly, that became a crystal collection. So, Exhibit A. I think we're going to set up a little altar today, a little crystal grid. I think the important thing to talk about is that it's whatever you want it to be. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of practitioners say there's, you know, this to create this or this formation for this. And yes, that's true. But I think it's a great practice to trust your intuition and just to really let whatever you want to create be what you're going to create and admire that. So I don't go by any guidelines. I kind of just go for it, place things where I think. You can go by directions if that's something you're interested in, north, south, east, west, obviously different correspondences. We're just going to make a pretty little altar today and play with some crystals. And I pulled these because I love incorporating the earth. Obviously there's crystals here, but nothing gets better than some green earth. So, you want to get started?
Let's do it.
Yay.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about what a crystal grid even is?
Yes. So, a crystal grid you can use to harness the energies of the crystals for different intentions. So, for example, I did a crystal grid that it was all this crystal, selenite, and this crystal is a cleansing crystal, but it also is connected to the moon, and rose quartz, and that was all for like womanly self-love, for the womb space. Maybe if you're going to do a psychic one, you incorporate some amethyst, incorporate some labradorite.
Yeah.
It all is based on your intention. And then I brought a circle. I love doing my crystal grids in circles just to disperse the energy. However, if you wanted it just to be for you, make it in a line, sit at one end, lay next to it, do what you're going to do. Trust your intuition. That's my lesson of the day. Just do what you're going to do and trust that it's the right thing, honestly.
I'm dripping sweat.
Me too. It's good. We're having a physical detox.
Yeah, we're physically detoxing and it's 95 degrees outside. So yeah, excuse the dripping
It's Leo
sweat.
season, that's why.
It's Leo
season, ruled by the sun. It's natural. I got a sunburn. We're in the sun. It's those Leos. They have to make themselves known to us. They're so dramatic.
So yeah, so you're making a crystal grid. Well, we're making a crystal grid.
Yes.
Wow, I've never made a crystal grid before, so I'm very excited to make my first crystal grid. So can you talk about, number one, this circle blanket you got going on?
Yeah, circles. I am a big fan of women's circles and just gathering in circles. I think it's one of the most powerful spiritual practices you can do. Just sitting in a circle with people, whether it be women, men, all inclusions, and getting vulnerable and sharing. A lot of the women's circles I do and host include tarot, include prompts based on the lunar cycles, based on astrological transits. But I think a circle is so significant. Just sit in a circle, see everyone eye to eye, and it's really beautiful. Wow.
Poppin'. I don't know what that was. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, so sit in a circle, see eye to eye. So are we sitting in the, so do we sit in the circle? Or
we're just going to make it in a circle.
Okay, we make it in a circle.
There's only two of us, so I mean, we would sit in a line.
There you go.
You know, think about it.
So then normally do you have like candles and you like have a bunch of people sit around the circle?
Yeah, so normally at a circle, we would set up a little crystal grid, altar, and then everyone would sit in a circle around it. It's so powerful. It's like the most beautiful thing. We actually did one in this garage on the last full moon, on the Aquarius full moon. Everyone cried. Everyone got vulnerable. And then we ate ice cream. It's my favorite thing in life.
There you go.
It's my favorite thing, honestly. I think every person, if you have the opportunity to go to a women's circle, should. Or a man's circle, or circle in general. I say women's circle just because that's all I've ever done. But I do think I want to start doing all-inclusive circles, because I have sat in circle just with friends that are men, and I think it's very cool to see that perspective too. But then when you're with the moon and it's a lunar thing, it kind of becomes a feminine thing, you know.
I think it's good. Well, it's cool because you just want, as long as you have like open, like I'm a pretty open-minded person, I like to think. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have like someone who's open-minded to trying it, and you're not just like, oh, sitting in the circle with all the crystals and then you don't really understand it or whatever, and they don't want to understand it, then it'll just ruin the vibe too. Yeah. So, but I think that would be cool. So you said though how the lunar thing becomes more feminine?
Yes.
Why are certain things more masculine or more feminine, and how does that system work? That's probably a really complex question.
Well, kind of, not kind of. So we have the sun and we have the moon. The sun is solar masculine. It's always there. I mean, we see that in our society, patriarchal. It's structure. It's go, 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 do, do, do. It's fire. It's, you know, it's what we see almost toxic masculinity energy as. But then the enlightenment of that is divine masculine, where it's the ability to set boundaries and be hard about things and have a structure. And then we go to the moon, and that's our lunar feminine qualities, which is more watery. It's all the emotional aspects. It's mutable. It's not really like grr. It's more sat back and more feeling into things and more going with the flow, which is why the moon exists in cycles, just as the womb does. You know, we have a menstrual cycle that connects us to the moon. So, I mean, that right there is literally like why women are so connected to the moon. And that's why women were called lunatics. Fun fact.
Really?
Luna being moon. Yeah. Lunatic, crazy moon lady. So I identify as a lunatic.
As a crazy moon lady.
As a crazy moon lady.
There you go. I talked to the crazy moon lady.
Yes.
Maybe that's the title of the podcast.
There you go.
I talked to the crazy moon lady. Heck yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But and then real quick, one more question, then we'll get into making our circle.
Yay.
So just then I was listening to you describe the moon and the sun, and also, what are you doing with your hands?
I just do that. It's just a thing, honestly.
I love that. I love it. But no, so it was almost like you had a thought in your head about something, and then you were pulling words to describe that thought. And what was that thought? And like, what are you thinking of when you're describing the sun? Well, you're thinking of the sun, but where are you pulling those? I love the hand thing.
I can't help it, honestly. It's my thinking.
No, it's great. It's like how, I do this. I gesture a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the same thing.
But
yeah, so where are you pulling when you're describing the sun and the moon and stuff? Are you pulling from your education? Are you pulling from, is it a feeling or the energy or?
I love that question. Oh, another one. Okay.
Dialed.
I'm pulling from books I've read, but also, yeah, I mean, what you're asking is literally you're asking if I'm channeling what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
that's a way better way of the question that I just asked.
I think that more so happens when I'm doing like a tarot spread, or maybe channeling something about a crystal, or channeling something I don't know about. But mostly for the sun and moon, I'm pulling from what signs they rule astrologically. Just what facts I know about them from books I've read. That's like almost the first page in any spell book.
Okay. Is
the phases of the moon and the planets and masculine, feminine energies. Mm-hmm. And I think I had to learn a lot about that for all things, but especially in Reiki, you have to know everyone has masculine and feminine energy. And when we over-identify into one, it kind of pulls us out of balance. Like, we need to be as much in the masculine sun as we are in the feminine moon to really be able to play with both, integrate both, and go forward. So it's mostly personal knowledge.
Okay, there you go.
I'll tell you when I'm channeling.
Cool. All right, let's make this thing.
Yay. Okay. So I love starting with this guy in the middle, just because it's my.
I feel like that's a
my
pretty
big
clear.
tower.
You got your tower.
It's a big yes from me, huh? Yeah. So then I'm gonna. So I pulled 7 of these.
Why
Of course.
7?
7 because we have the 7 major planets, and we have the 7 chakras, which are the energy centers that I work with. Thank you, Hinduism. Well, actually, there's a lot more than that, but we just say 7. Also, I love, this is a Celtic thing, fairy magic. The fairy star has 7 points. So, and a lot of things exist in 7. 7 is a magical number. Think of the days of the week. Think of the 7 major wonders, 7 continents. Lots of 7s. So then I kind of just...
And you just kind of do it. You just kind of do it on your own, like whatever feels good.
Yeah.
Basically, it's not. Well, yeah. Earlier you talked about that. You talked about how, like, there's guides and whatnot, but it's also whatever feels good.
Yeah, like there's definitely different setups you could do. I know from learning Reiki, there's like literally different points you can map out. Or maybe you wanted to put it over sacred geometry. You wanted to use Metatron's cube or the flower of life, which is some sacred geometrical shapes. Put crystals on that, harness that energy. Today, we're just having fun. We're trusting our intuition. And I kind of just brought a random assortment of crystals because we're having fun. The intention is to have fun.
Let's have some fun.
So, we have our little map now of the 7, and then I have these 2 wands. So I personally love doing things kind of symmetrical. Just
Aesthetically?
yeah, it's an aesthetic. So we'll kind of do that sort of a thing. That's looking good. Then I have these 2 towers, so we can do kind of this sort of a thing, point those out that way. And then, you know, we can put some big chunks. So shout out Riley for letting us use her amethyst. I'm going to match it with my celestite, and we're going to do one
And
of these.
so you pick certain crystals for what reasons? And you place them in certain places for what reasons?
Well, we could get really into this and do an in-depth, like, north and, you know, west is associated with water. If you wanted more emotional things, we would put our more emotional crystals facing towards the west. Right now I'm kind of just picking intuitively and for the aesthetics, honestly. But if I was really going in depth, I would probably map this out in my journal beforehand and really go into what I'm trying to call in, the energies of the crystals associated with maybe the directions, or, you know, who's sitting where in the circle too. I think about a lot when we're hosting circle. Maybe I need to sit in front of the carnelian today because I'm trying to have some hawk girl energy and I'm trying to ignite the inner fire. And maybe someone needs a little emotional support and a little heart opening, they'd sit in front of the malachite. Or someone needs protection, black tourmaline. Like, you can do it that way when you're in a group setting. So.
And so you mentioned, you said like one was hot girl energy, one was like emotional, whatever, and like things like that. Why do the different stones and crystals have different characteristics that exhibit different personality or characteristics?
It's so fun. So
I kept saying characteristics, but
every crystal has different qualities that are just kind of known, I guess. I mean, it really does depend on your relationship with crystals, because I know I've used a crystal for a long time that I felt was helping me emotionally, that maybe was more of a grounding crystal in the books. And it's really based on your relationship just as much as it is on what's in the book. So most of these are like just known like hot words of what the crystal's good for, but I also think everyone has such a unique relationship with everything. So, like, for instance, I have a piece of selenite at home. Selenite is technically this one. That's technically a more of a cleansing crystal. However, I use it to charge other crystals. And someone got mad at me for this at one point, saying I was using the crystal wrong. But I felt like, no, selenite's connected to the moon. I'm connected to the moon. I want my crystals to be connected to the moon.
You're the crazy moon lady.
Crazy moon lady. So So I was using it to charge my crystals, and that was my own decision. That was my own intuition. So just as much as there are Googleable answers to what every crystal is good for, you also have the answers, and that's the ambiguity of spirituality right there.
There you go. The crazy moon lady and the ambiguity of spirituality.
Wow.
There you go.
That was great.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to use that.
Thank
You're
you.
going to use that.
I'm going to use that too, probably.
I'll put it in my Instagram caption.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe...
So now what are these? So wait, you said these are
more
towers.
Selenite. Yeah, so this is fluorite, which is good for some psychic downloads. I use that in meditation. This is lapis, which actually, big shout out right now, don't buy lapis. That was gifted to me, but I've just read that the mining of lapis, you know, A, B, and C, not good. We don't want to support it. Just do your best not to support that. I'm not going to buy lapis anymore for that reason. Sorry, I don't have more facts, but that's all I got right now.
Basically, don't get lapis.
Lapis, yeah.
Don't
We're
get
trying not
lapis.
to support the mining of lapis.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Okay. Next thing's next. I'm deciding. You know, these all have a similar shape. This is kind of how I do things, is about the aesthetics of things. So these all have a similar shape. So this I actually got yesterday. This is Septarian. It's going to help me with a little bit of confidence, and it's going to help, well, that's what I've read so far. I need to do a little more research. But she's so dragony. I love her.
You said her.
Yeah.
So do they have male and female characteristics?
I just call things her. I think that might just be a me thing.
Okay.
But anything that comes from the earth, I pretty much call her, you know, Mother Nature.
Mother Nature.
Mother Nature. Okay, she has some wax. I burn candles on my crystals sometimes, so they all kind of have wax residue. That is melting off because it's hot. Okay, so that opposite that. And then, let's just go out like that. What are you drawn to next?
Ooh, cool. I like this. Let's see what I am drawn to. So many options. I like this Apple Pencil looking thing.
It does look like an Apple Pencil.
It really does look like an Apple Pencil. Thanks, Apple, for programming my brain.
Uh-huh.
All right. Where are you thinking about putting the Apple Pencil?
I'm thinking the Apple Pencil could face you because you like it so much, and then we'll match it with another piece of selenite. She's looking pretty. Okay. Let's see what I'm drawn to next. I love this guy. This is Dogtooth Calcite. We'll match her with a little piece of sodalite over here.
And did you just read a geology book so you know what all of these things are, or how do you even know?
I pretty much learn about them as I buy them. And then I have gold crystals, obviously, that I really want based on their energy, but usually it's just when I go into a crystal store or go to a crystal fair, I see one that I like, and I like it for a reason, obviously, and then I look it up, what it's good for, and that's how I build a relationship. And if you like doing that too, I did create a journal that's available on Amazon called My Crystal Collection Journal. Shout out.
Smooth plug. I like it. I like it.
I have to. I don't make that much money off of it.
No,
It's just cool.
you are good. Yeah.
But, that has helped me because I love kind of writing notes about my relationship with crystals. I'm such a crystal girl in that way of I hung out with this crystal today and I felt A, B, and C. So that journal gives you kind of an outline to be able to do that and keep going back to a certain crystal for those emotional people like me that are connected to their things. So, how do we feel? Let's take some pyrite, some fool's gold. Oh, it's hot. We'll do this kind of a thing and match it like that. Yay.
And how many crystals do you put in the circle before you're the circle's ready?
Well, it just depends. Sometimes I literally will just put that tower and maybe 4 other crystals. So this in the middle. It usually always is with this in the middle or my crystal ball, which we don't have here today, but she makes a feature at Women's Circle.
You have a crystal ball?
I do have a crystal ball.
Can you do crazy things with it?
What do you mean?
I don't. Yeah, that was a bad question. Can you like, you know, well, all right, like in the movies, you see like people like doing the.
Like looking into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. So that's called scrying, when you have a crystal ball or, I mean, an element in front of you too is technically good for scrying. And what scrying is you're looking into something with an open mind and just seeing what answers come to you. So actually, Faith just got a crystal ball who lives here, and we were scrying into it the other night. I was scrying at a women's circle last week into this bigger crystal ball. Oh my goodness, I was seeing white horses, I was seeing like womb energy, I was seeing a herd of horses then. It was crazy. So yes, I do crazy things with crystal balls is the answer.
Crazy lunatic moon lady does things with crystal balls.
Yes. If we had it here today, it would light this blanket on fire, honestly, because of the sun. That's a lesson for anyone getting a crystal ball. Cover it up in the sunlight because it will light things on fire.
There you go. Will it actually?
Yes.
Because the light just goes
Just
and
because,
reflects.
yeah, and it's like
That's some magical
it's a
shenanigan.
magnifier,
Yeah.
Well, it's good to cover it up just as like magical hygiene, I guess, of covering.
Magical
Like,
hygiene.
yes, it's like you cover the things that you use as a magical tool, or a tool in your witchcraft, or a tool in, you know, anything you're doing, to keep the energy contained and to keep energy from entering. I keep my stuff uncovered all the time. But after this one time, I got home and the thing behind it was really hot. Let's not test that. So, lesson learned. I keep it out of the sun now, uncovered.
Would you describe all this stuff that you do as magic? Also?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would consider it magic. I think there's so many different definitions of magic. I mean, even the spelling of the word, there's magic with a C, there's magic with a K. I would spell it magic with a K because it's not show magic, which I would define as with a C, where you're pulling something out of a hat. Like, that's not what magic with a K is to me. Magic with a K is working with the elements, manifesting, setting intentions, doing rituals, setting up an altar, that sort of a thing. More of like an occult magic, which I don't think is a naughty word either. So,
Cult is not a naughty word.
occult.
Oh, a cult.
OCCULT.
Oh, occult.
Yeah.
Occult.
Like esoteric.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Although, oh my goodness, spirituality and cults gets gnarly. So gnarly.
Really? Are you in a cult?
I think I was
You were?
on accident. Well, okay. To anyone listening to this,
Story time.
This is story time. I was in a magical academy for 4 months.
A magical academy.
A magical academy.
What was the magical or magical?
Magic.
Magical.
Yeah,
What was
like-
the magical academy?
It was called the Academy of Magical Arts and Sciences. And it was all online. It was meetings with my teacher. And it just, it got a little
culty?
A little culty,
A little
that's
too
all. I
culty.
don't know what to say about it because it's such a weird experience and like I don't really know how to describe it, and I'm not like that comfortable talking about it because it was just such a weird time in my life, and then for a lot of people that I know, it affected them too. But this is a lesson. If you're getting into spirituality and someone says they have all the answers and you have to pay X amount of money to get them, be careful about that. If I can give you any advice. And also, this is a feminist point of view. Don't let a man teach you about magic, because I do feel like it's a feminine art. Witchcraft, I mean, is such a feminine art.
Why is it a feminine art?
Just like the moon, like the lunatics. Even historically, I admire men who do witchcraft. But even the men I know that dabble in witchcraft look to women for advice. And I think it's not something that men can't do. I think men, obviously, yes, do it. But I do think when we think of leaders in witchcraft, I do believe we should turn to women.
Cool
Based off
beans.
experience.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's the best thing to base it off of is experience. So you say you charge crystals. How do you charge crystals? And what does it mean when you charge a crystal?
So there's multiple ways you can charge a crystal. I do it based on astrological transits and moon phases and the sun. Some crystals can't go in the sun because they'll fade, like amethyst or I think sodalite, rose quartz. Technically aren't supposed to go in the sun for long periods of time. But when there's a new moon or a full moon that I especially like, because sometimes, you know, maybe I don't want an Aries full moon to charge my crystals. Maybe I want to wait until a Pisces full moon. Then I'll put all my crystals out in the moonlight, let them bask in the moonlight, pull up all the energy, and then put them back in my room. And yeah, it just feels fresh, it feels fun. But otherwise, I'll use incense to cleanse them, charge them, or just other crystals, grouping them together, kind of making them hang out and mingle. That's always fun. They're honestly, now that I'm talking about it that way, it almost is like they're my littlest pet shops, or like they're my little Barbie dolls that I'm like, you hang out with you, and I'm going to come play with you, and then I'm going to come play with you. It's that kind of a gig.
Yeah. So now what do we do with our crystal grid, and what do you do around a crystal grid, and honestly, what is the purpose of a crystal grid?
Honestly, they're just vibe setters. They're energy spreaders. There's definitely better words for this, but usually after I build a crystal grid, I will maybe speak my intentions about it, or meditate with it, or do a certain chant that I think invokes maybe the energies that I'm trying to work with. Usually for my crystal grids, I am building them to invoke a certain feeling out of myself. Maybe it's relaxation. Sometimes just building the crystal grid does enough for me. And I can step away and be like, okay, that was my meditation. Because you really are in a meditative state when you're picking the crystals, laying them out. For me, it's similar to folding laundry. Like, that's something that's very meditative for me. So even just the act of doing the crystal grid can be the meditation itself. But I like kind of just sitting in front of it, admiring it, maybe even just reading, like just doing your thing around it too. Sometimes I'll build a crystal grid in my room and just read next to it, or do my work next to it. But for circle, yeah, we build it, and then we would sit, share how we're arriving at the circle, maybe pull a tarot card. It just opens up the energy, I think, and really like charges a space. And for me, there's something about it that just makes me so comfortable. And maybe it's the visuals that it just looks pretty, but I do feel like when things are laid out, you can tell when something's done with intention. You can tell when something's done with a purpose. And that's what a crystal grid does for me, is really puts my purpose out there, puts my intention out there, shows that I'm really putting care into my space, into what I'm creating, into whatever energy I'm trying to invoke. It's like, it's almost like a ritual, doing the grid itself and putting the time in, and the motions, all the things you're doing are so like charged with intention. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
That was great.
Wow, we did a great job.
You did a great job. I didn't do anything.
You helped.
I helped by sitting here and watching and
No,
learning.
you had input. It was great.
Okay.
It was a team effort.
Okay, team effort.
Something about Pisces that my friend Cheyenne jokes about, is that you know you're around a Pisces the second they say we. Pisces want to be a team with people so bad.
I like that, yeah. That's cool. We're both Pisces. I think we already said that. Yeah.
It's good.
Wait, when's your birthday?
March 1st.
Okay, I'm the 3rd. Yeah.
We're so close. Whoa, 3-3.
3300.
That's a good birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
3300.
Woo.
My friend's 22. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. See, I'm like, when I have a kid, I need to strategically do this so that they have a magical birthday. But good for you, honestly. Yeah. That's great.
Except I was 3 when I had my, what's it called? Like 3303?
Golden birthday.
Yeah, golden birthday.
Well, I was 1. So.
Okay, there you go. 110. Wait, yours was
01.
3101.
So that's juicy
still
too.
That's still good. Yeah. Cool.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, we did it. So do we do like tarot cards next to it?
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yay.
Let's do some tarot cards.
Have you ever had your cards read?
I think I did it one time by, I think Juliet did it, or
Yay.
Sasha, or someone of like one of my friends did it. So we got some tarot cards here. What are tarot cards?
So tarot cards, there's a long history stemming from Jewish mysticism, stemming from Greek and Roman culture. It started, I mean, there's multiple origins that all kind of come to now, obviously. But at first, it was a way, I don't want to butcher the history, but it started as a way to share, pretty sure the Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, to share the tree of life. At least that's how I've learned it. I mean, through my magic school, as the tree of life and the spheres of the tree of life. And then, but it was disguised as a card game. And then, and same in Greek and Romanian culture too. So it's disguised as a card game, but really, each card has a meaning. Each card has an association. And there's, yeah, I mean, every card, there's 78 cards, so there's 22 majors. Majors being more big themes in your life and more like overarching archetypes. And then there's the court cards. So we have pentacles, we have swords, we have wands, we have cups, and those all represent a different aspect in the human life. And then those are split up like cards, 1 through 10, and then we have the court cards.
Okay. And the tarot cards, are they 78 all different cards? Mm-hmm. They all have their own thing. And then there's 22 ones that are all like the core ones you said. Yeah. So those are the most significant.
Those are the major arcana, and then there's the minor arcana, which is like the club cards.
Arcana. So what if you draw all minor arcana and not any major arcana?
That's a good question. I mean, it just changes the reading, really. Another one! So for me, like if I pull all majors, I'm going to flip the question because that's going to be probably more helpful. If I pull all majors in a reading, which are the core, like bigger archetypes, I'll know, wow, big shifts are happening for me. Like really big themes are going to be unearthing themselves to me that'll be, you know, things that I'm going to have to deal with a little bit longer than, say, a minor card that's more of an immediate thing. It might be a smaller thing. It might be an energy that once you identify it through a reading, you can nip it in the bud and get rid of it, honestly. It's more quicker fixes, I would say, or just shorter lasting medicine, where the majors are, you're going to kind of play with their energy for a longer time.
Got it. And so there's 78 cards, 22 majors, major arcana, 22 what's
56.
70? Thank you. 56 minor arcana. And do you have all the 78 and their meanings memorized? And do you know which of the 22? You have all that memorized?
All of it memorized.
Wow, there you go. Certified Reiki. Is this Reiki?
This is tarot.
Okay, this is tarot.
But I mean,
and is it all in the same?
I kind of mush it all together is the thing. When I have a Reiki client,
this homie is really liking our vibes over here. He's loving the circle.
He's loving. We have moss in the crystal grid.
Yeah, there you go. But you said...
oh, yeah. So when I have a Reiki client, I pull cards for them. Because I think everything... The thing about all of the knowledge I have is that I view it as different lenses.
A psychic with a psych degree.
Yes, that's my bio on Instagram. I view everything as just another lens. So... I have tarot as a lens that I can view something from. I have Reiki, which is more of an energetic lens I could view things from.
Yeah.
I have astrology, which is another lens I can view things from. I have psychology, which is another lens. I kind of just layer them on top of each other, and instead of keeping any of them separate, I mush them all together. Yeah. Which is helpful because it gives you so many different areas to pull from. Like if I have a client, I'm looking at them energetically, we pull cards, I ask them what their chart is, I ask them what their sign is, I ask them that because then there's transits happening. Like, okay, let's say for today, Mars moved into Virgo. If they have their Mars in Virgo, they're having a Mars return. Maybe that's doing something for them. Like, and then psychologically, if we're talking and there's a topic that I learned about through having a therapy internship, I can pull from that. So I think tarot is just another helpful lens, honestly, and it's just another helpful way to get more information about what you're dealing with, what's going on. It's a good form of introspection. And even if you don't have the cards memorized, I've had some of my best readings where I've handed my cards to someone that doesn't know anything, and I just have them look at the imagery on the card, or You know, what do you think a pentacle is? And what do you think the number 4 represents? Sometimes those are my best readings that I've ever gotten from people who don't necessarily know, oh, the 4 of Wands, divine marriage, emperor, empress, like these things coming together, you know. Sometimes even having all that information can cloud you from trusting your intuition or being an open channel like we talked about.
I feel like that's a big life thing too. It's like if you're so close to it, it's hard to get the bigger picture.
Yeah. So for anyone that's interested in tarot but doesn't want to like spend the time memorizing, just get a deck and just trust your intuition. I mean, I'm going to say it a million times. We can have a counter going of how many times I say that, but that's the beautiful part of it, is that it's really for you, however you want to use it. So with that being said, here you go. If you want to shuffle them, or
do I shuffle them,
you can shuffle
do I
them.
just do whatever I?
You can do whatever you want. Honestly, sometimes
I'm terrible. I can't shuffle.
I don't either.
Like people do the thing where you're like
you can do fancy shuffles,
or you just like mash them all together.
Or mash them all together. That's what I do. Or sometimes I'll throw all my cards on the floor and just like wash them all around.
Have you ever heard of the game 52 card pickup?
Yes.
I feel like there's not a lot of people that haven't heard of that game, so you can't do that anymore. Oh my gosh. All right. I feel satisfied with my shuffling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can pick a card or split it and flip it over, however you want to do it.
So am I like running the show here, kind of?
You're going to pull cards, and honestly, I think it would be fun for you to say what you want to say about them, and then I'll add.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. We got our first card is a Rey de Cope.
Aw, King of Cups.
King of Chalices. Check it out. So these are also like holographic and like crazy looking.
Yeah,
That's our first card. King of Cups. Okay. King of Cups. My thoughts on the King of Cups. You got this homie with another homie behind him, it looks like. Look. I don't know if you can see that, but you got a statue homie and then another homie that's like alive behind it. So that's like 2 faces kinda. And then you got a nice sick dolphin in the background, and then the ship that's about to come down. There's like an arc up there. And so I think this means I don't know. Maybe, all right, well, there's a bunch of tools also in the background. Maybe I'll just like have the screenshot up so I don't have to keep showing it. But there's a bunch of tools in the background, and the king that's alive is looking at the arc, but maybe he's blind to his tools because he's distracted by how dope the dolphin and the arc looks. So maybe he can't help himself because he's distracted by other things happening. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. All right.
See, and that's why it's always interesting, because that's not at all what I would have said. Okay. In a good way, though.
Yeah.
In a great way. Like, good job, A. Good job.
Sweaty.
Great inferences. So, cool. King of Cups, traditionally, the king is the masculine, like the complete masculine of this energy. Cups being emotion, being the more watery, like lovey-dovey type vibes. Okay. Where it's not a physical matter that you can see. It's not like, oh, you're going to get money or a job. This is all having to do with how you feel. And I liked what you said about the tools being behind him and him just kind of looking away, because the King of Cups, I mean, is like indicative of like a mastery of emotions. So maybe you're not paying attention to these physical matters. He's not paying attention to his physical tools because he's more so focused on the tools within himself, or the tools of just like, I'm going to watch the dolphin swim by, and I'm going to watch the boat come in, because I am so satisfied right now, and I'm just going to sit and look at my kingdom and be great, because I don't need to deal with the physical realm. I am emotionally complete, and I am the master of my emotions, so I don't even need to touch the tools. So I think you did great, honestly. Cool. I think that was a good inference. And that's such a Pisces card, especially like for that being the card that you pulled as a Pisces man. Like that is the watery masculine.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny that you just pulled that.
There you go. So yeah. Wait, what was I gonna ask? So what is tarot? What are you exactly doing? Are you analyzing yourself in the current moment? Are you helping yourself analyze yourself in the current moment? Or is it predicting things that'll happen to you?
Ooh, fun. Okay, so there's multiple ways.
Okay.
I mean, that comes down to you can do different spreads. So I create different spreads based on transits or different things you're trying to inquire about. But one of my favorite, like,
what's a vocab word?
Transits meaning what the stars and planets are doing in the sky.
Got it.
So one of my favorite spreads for tarot is past, present, future. What you're leaving behind in the past, how you're arriving, and maybe a little words about your future.
Is that what we're doing?
If you want to.
What was your plan going in?
Oh, I just wanted to see what you wanted to do and just pull.
Let's just do that.
I think that's fun.
And then we can all, do you do multiple ones or do you just do one?
You can pull however many you want.
Okay.
So like, honestly, when I pull cards, sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes I'm sitting in my room and I pull one card. I'm like, oh, yep, there you have it. That's my answer. Other times I'm like, I need more about this. Okay, I need a little more clarification. Okay, but how is that going to present itself in my life?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just
I
like
get
go
that.
through it?
Yeah, and I just keep inquiring and inquiring until I feel like I get
So it like
a bigger
helps you
picture.
think through things.
Totally.
Interesting. Okay.
Once you get comfortable with more of the card meanings, something that I really like to do is maybe recently I need a little more fire. I need to act more.
Okay.
I'm going to put the King of Wands next to my bed or where I'm working or on my altar as an energy that I want to focus on. You can use your tarot cards as tools of introspection just as much as you can of like inspiration. So I'll put, you know, maybe I have an extra deck. I have an extra deck, not maybe. And I get ready at my mirror in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the Empress, I'm going to put the card for the Divine Feminine on my mirror as a way to like channel that energy when I'm getting ready in the morning. You can
Like
use
writing
them.
like note cards to yourself.
Oh, yeah,
way,
it's like
yeah.
a little, it's like, you know, next to that I have a poster of Stevie Nicks. It's
Yeah.
like the same thing, you know?
Little reminder.
It's little energies that you can start to incorporate into your life of like, okay, I need to embody, what's a good one you want to embody? Strength. I want to embody strength, okay. Maybe I'm going to hold on to that card or like literally put it in my binder if I'm going to school or put it behind my phone and try to like harness that energy a little bit more. Like tarot doesn't necessarily have to be sitting down asking a question and pulling a card and getting an answer. Like you can use them even in crystal grids. If we were trying to, you know, have some uplifting energy, we can put the Three of Cups in there. You know, we can put, let's find another good one. We can put Two of Cups in there, you know, some good emotional, loving energy. Maybe we're trying to get psychic. We put the High Priestess in there. You know, like you get to start playing with things and incorporating them into your practice the way that it makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's just another lens. It's just another tool in the tool belt to use when you want to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shall we pull another card?
Yeah.
All
How
right.
about I have an idea. I'm going to pull a card and you're going to give me a reading.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds crazy.
Okay.
Let's do it. 1 second. Let me get the close-up going. All right, so you're pulling a card and I'm giving you a reading
Yes,
on
that's
about you?
About me.
Okay, let's do
You're
it.
going to tell me what's up. And we just met, so he doesn't have any background information.
I have no
so
background
let's see
information.
how psychic you can get.
This is actually, I'm really intrigued.
This is going to be fun.
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm feeling this guy. Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
All right. I don't know how well people can see that. Hold up.
I'll send you pictures of all of them.
There you go. All right, so we got wands, and now I'm going to put this down so I can talk about wands. All right. Cool. Oh, wow. So you got wands, right? And wands is basically a person person next to another person who's working in a field harvesting. That's what my initial impression is. And this person is carrying a bunch of what's weird is that so you have the stuff in the background, but that doesn't look the same as the stuff that this person is carrying, even though I feel like you'd infer that it is. So you have, this guy in the background harvesting some wheat, And then this person's carrying sticks with little leaves on them, but it's not like they're carrying the wheat. It's like they're carrying posts, maybe. I don't know, maybe that has nothing to, but basically this person doesn't look like they're having the best day. That's my inference, just because they're covering their face. It looks like they're trying to get somewhere quickly and get rid of these posts because they're working hard. So maybe it's just more simple, and it's just the fact that, all right, this is my reading of you.
Okay.
You have this thing that you're doing, wonder what that is, and you're working hard at it, but it's difficult, and it's constant, and you want to figure it out, but you can only do a little bit at a time. That was my...
You did excellent.
Great.
Amazing.
So, yeah, because you only can carry a little bit at a time, but you gotta just like keep going.
You just gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly that. So this is the 10 of Wands, and that's exactly that. It's the 10s are the final completion of that numerology, 1 through 10.
Okay.
So it's like that last card in that set of energy. So the 10s are usually the ends of patterns, and for this, he's carrying a lot of sticks to get the job done. And like you're saying, like you can only take one step at a time. You just have to put your head down, take one step at a time. For me, you're spot on for school.
Yep.
I'm starting, and it's a lot, and it feels like a lot, but you just have to keep going,
Get that PhD.
Get that PhD, get that harvest.
Isn't your PhD when you're 20?
Well, it'll be when I'm like 22, I think is my goal.
Yeah.
So I know, I'm excited.
That's gnarly.
To be a doctor.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Sometimes I'm doing my schoolwork, and I'm like, whoa, this is for that.
Be a doctor.
Be a doctor.
Yeah, like it's in your name.
I know, when I buy tickets to things, or when I order things
Doctor.
online,
Yeah.
it's the simple things like that
Where it
that I'm
says
thinking
prefix,
about.
you put DR.
Uh-huh.
Period.
Oh my goodness. And it's
Nuts.
funny because my sister, her name's Danny Ray, so her initials are DRNS, to our last name.
DRDR.
So, you know,
Does she want to be
she's
a doctor?
No.
Oh, okay.
But she's holding it over my head like, I'm the original Dr. Ennis, just so you know.
There you
like
go.
you had to get a degree for it, but I'm so excited.
That's cool. Good on ya.
Good on ya.
Good on you, mate.
Good on ya, mate.
But yeah, that went well. That was good.
You did great. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. All right, now you pull one and I don't analyze it and you just tell me.
Okay.
How about that?
Deal.
And then I want to try the past, present, future.
Yay, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, this is tough. This is my least favorite card.
Really? There you go.
Oh, so I pulled the Five of Pentacles.
Wait, hold up. All right, she pulled the Five of Pentacles.
I pulled the Five of Pentacles. It's my least favorite card, honestly. If I were to rank them from best to worst, this would be...
Out of 78.
Out of 78, this is my least favorite
We pulled
card.
the least favorite.
But that's tough. I feel it, honestly. Because the Five of Pentacles is more of a physical thing that you can see in your external reality. It's not like it's an emotion or a thought pattern. It's literally things in your environment. And the Five of Pentacles, 5 is like a pivotal point of change, which obviously I'm going through starting back at school again. But the Five of Pentacles is all about feeling left out and feeling a little alone and feeling a little like the door might have been closed on you and you're on the other side. And that is something, I just kind of always feel that way, honestly. I have such bad FOMO in life, which I'm recovering from. And then just, you know, I had another recent breakup where, same, I was like, why am I being left outside in the cold? Like these people are, like they look hungry and tired and they just want to come inside the church. And so to me, the Five of Pentacles on the bright side always is that you're being left out of other people's things so that you can do your own thing. And I think that's obviously something I'm going through right now. Maybe being left out of other people's projects or like not being able to contribute to things I used to contribute to so that I can really harness my own projects and then build my own church to sit in and not have the door shut on me because I'm closing the door to myself.
Okay.
So that's how I would read Five of Pentacles.
Cool.
On the bright side. I really had to spend time with it to see the bright side of that card because for a minute.
Are they all positive or do you like take positives and negatives from them?
There's positives and negatives to everything.
Okay.
Even with a positive card like the King of Cups, we can see him as maybe someone that's emotionally manipulative
Okay.
or controlling. There's what we more so say is a light side and a shadow side.
Okay, light side and a shadow
yeah,
side.
because the shadow isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just exists as long as there's a light side. So to give a full reading, I know some people who read cards in reversed, and then I recently met someone who says they don't because the card has all the meanings, light and dark, shadow, however you want to say it. Like, to give a full reading, you kind of have to acknowledge that every card has some maybe cons and pros.
Yeah.
So obviously there's initial cards, like you pull the Tower and you think, ugh. The Tower is this card where lightning is striking this tower and people are jumping off of it, and it's dark and it's black and it looks bleak.
Probably a shadow card, more of a shadow card.
Yeah, exactly. But then you can see the light of that being, wow, sudden change, renewal. Maybe things becoming a little more clearer after being shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it takes a second off after that like initial pull to really sit with the medicine of the card. Every card has medicine for us to learn from, to grow from, insight, to integrate, and then move on. And sometimes it stings at first. It's a little venomous, but every card is really trying to encourage you to be the best version of yourself, I would like to say.
Yeah.
Or like your full embodiment almost.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You want to do past, present, future?
Sure, yeah. Do you want to?
We could do it for both.
Yay!
Both of us.
Yeah, cool.
To
you
be,
can go first.
yeah, all right. Am I pulling for you? So that last one that we did was you pulling for you.
Yes.
And so now,
Do you want to pull for you and I'll pull for me, and then
yeah, let's do that.
we'll have a chat?
All right. I'm pulling for me. So is this my past card?
Yeah, you'll do past, present, future.
Okay. Past. We got a lot of chalices.
Yes, that's the 7 of Cups.
7 of Cups. And are you telling me what my past is?
Do you want me to?
Well, I read for myself, and so have we had it where you tell me what it is yet?
I'll give you a reading.
Okay, let's do that, yeah.
Okay, so 7 of Cups being in the past is really a good thing, because the 7 of Cups is this man with all of his cups, like you said, coming to face all these options. And all of the options in these cups are so enticing. He wants to learn more about them. He wants to pick up a cup, set it back down, pick up this cup, set it back down, and really survey everything that's in front of him. But in doing so, he's not just picking one. This whole time you're in the 7 of Cups energy, you're kind of just surveying all of your options of ways to move forward. And to really step forward out of the 7 of Cups, you pick one. Or you get rid of some. Or it's like a card that's asking you maybe to consolidate your energy into not just one route, but maybe routes where you're not questioning things, the routes that don't have resistance, the routes that are clear to you, maybe the obvious path, the obvious cup on this shelf is the one you need to pick up, instead of being like, well, I could dabble over there, and I could dabble over there, and maybe I'll spend some time over here. No, just decide. Just pick one and go for it and really commit and drink the whole cup, basically. And
Cool.
like see it to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I've always had like I didn't know what I want to do. And this has actually become kind of something that I really like. And I feel like when I'm doing it, I'm happy. And I feel like I'm decent at it, which is
You're
good.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I get better every time I do it, and I learn from it. And so this kind of feels like the thing that I chose to do, for now at least. But yeah, so that's cool.
Yay, I'm proud of you. Good job.
All right, present. And then I'm going to put the cards on screen for all the people out there.
Viewers.
Present. Oh gosh. Swords.
You say that. This is the 8 of Swords.
Okay. This card looks intense.
It is intense,
Jeez.
but it's beautiful.
Okay.
Because, so the 8 of Swords depicts a woman bound, surrounded by swords. However, her feet are not bound. In traditional imagery, you can see that her feet are not bound. She's in a pool of water in most images, hinting that she's trusting her intuition. And the 8 of Swords, swords being connected to our mental realm, our thought patterns,
Yeah.
is telling us that the only thing holding us back at this point is our thoughts. She's in this cage of swords because she is in this cage of swords. Your thought patterns are the only thing that's restricting you from taking the blindfold off and expressing yourself, really. And yeah, the Eight of Swords hints at self-limiting beliefs or negative self-talk, or
Yeah.
that's resonating. Yeah. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's all about just like, you know, the only one stopping you is you.
Yeah, that sounds pretty. That's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah. Juliet, you met her, Juliet.
Yes.
She gives me shit because sometimes on this podcast, I'll like I don't know. I did a podcast with Mary, actually, this chemist. She has a PhD and MD. She's super smart, super cool.
Goals.
And I was like, oh, I'm like, during the podcast, I was like, oh, I'm a moron, but whatever. So I was like self-deprecating. And Juliet was making the point that none of you would probably want to listen to me if I'm saying that I'm a moron, because no one wants to listen to someone who thinks that they're stupid.
True.
Especially if they're like putting their time into something. So I'm not a moron.
No, not a moron.
And yeah, that's cool.
The energy that you put out is what you attract.
Yeah.
So like even just earlier, you saying, every time I do a podcast, I get better at it. It makes me happy. It's what I want to do. It's charging this podcast with that energy of every time I do it, I'm smiling, I get better at it. I ask good questions. And that's what it is. And good job, Juliet. That's a great point.
Shout out to Juliet.
Shout out, Juliet.
Thank you. All right, future. We're going to go from the bottom this time.
Ooh.
Change it up.
Oh, yay.
The stars.
I love this card.
This is 17.
This is a major.
Okay, we got a major.
This is great. So,
I like that.
this is great. This is the card of Aquarius.
Okay.
And Aquarius is an air sign that often gets mixed up with a water sign. And air signs are connected with intellect, with intelligence, with wit almost. But Aquarius, the archetype is the water bearer. The mythology is based off of the god that descended from heaven to bring water from the heavens to earth when people were thirsty. And the medicine of the star is like an energy of rejuvenation, an energy of hope, of renewal. It's, you know, she has one foot on land, she has one foot in water. She is in her emotions just as much as she is in her logic side. And the stars above her are shining down on her. A common, you know, not to bring Aleister Crowley into things, but one of his most famous quotes is, every man and woman is a star. And that really connects to this card in the sense that like you shine so bright just by existing because you are a star. And connecting this with some Hebrew, it's connected to the Hebrew letter, Tazadi, I think I'm saying that right, which is represented by a fish hook, which then the metaphor for this card could be you're fishing into the universe and pulling in your answers, and you're staying open to the guidance you're receiving from your intuition, and then you're immediately integrating it into the things you're doing, and that's where this hope is coming from. Maybe during this time you're finding more connection with a higher source, or with the universe, or with your higher self, and through that you're feeling comforted about your past or your path going forward, and it's giving you just like a comforting energy. I love the star came up for me after my breakup of like, no, you're good. Like, you're just in this state where you just need to nurture yourself, you just need to be there for yourself, and as long as you're like just being you and kind of just going with the flow of things and staying in the motions and just shining as bright as you can, you're doing great.
Cool. Well, I like it.
Yay.
Thank you.
Of course.
Let's go. All right, let's do you now.
Yay.
So how do you normally, well, actually, you kind of described your process already, so I'll just let you go off.
Yay. Go off.
Go off.
Go
also,
off.
you have a tattoo of, is that the Eye of Ra?
This is the Eye of Ra.
And why did you get that tattoo?
Well, I actually stick and poke this tattoo.
Oh, wow. That's a big
Yeah.
stick and poke.
It took 4 hours, I think.
Dang.
Yeah.
My sister has a stick and poke on her ankle of like Colorado.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. CO. Shout out Morgan.
Shout out Morgan.
Shout out Morgan. I respect Sick and Poke because it's pretty gnarly.
It was pretty gnarly. It was a good meditation.
You're like, ow.
Yeah. I was just like,
Yeah.
but I actually did this with my ex. He has the corresponding eye. Shout out Race. You still get shout outs. But basically the idea of this is that the eye of Ra is corresponding to the eye of Thoth. And the eye of Ra,
Thoth.
yes, which
Okay.
is like the other side of the like different schools of knowledge in ancient Egypt. But Ra is representing the masculine, sun, logic. So I did the masculine and he did the feminine to kind of like swap and be able to pull from these energies. And then it's on my left side, so the left side is your feminine side. So I'm kind of mixing like that masculine with my feminine side. And then it's just a cool symbol. I like it being over my knee, kind of watching out for me just because a lot of my trauma comes from my knees, from having those surgeries.
Yeah.
So I kind of just feel like
So you didn't just show up and just get it. You're like, that looks cool.
he's watching out for me. I had a little vision during a meditation about it, and then kind of said it and was like, this seems crazy, but whatever. And I love it so much. So
That's cool.
It's good. Yeah. Most of my tattoos, I have the chakras down my spine.
Yeah. Those are crazy.
That was a meditation too, where I was like, I could feel him doing every petal of the lotuses, and I was like, okay, he's on my throat
Who's
chakra. My tattoo artist.
Okay.
Shout out Billy.
Shout out Billy.
Oh,
Another homie. Dude, these things are
it's
massive.
funny because we're talking about Egypt, and now this huge beetle is around us. Wow.
There
so
you
crystal
go.
grid.
Crystal grid. Shout out to the crystal grid.
Shout out crystal grid. But yeah, he was doing each petal of the different lotuses, and I was like, okay, let's focus all our energy on the throat chakra right now, because I can tell that that's where he's tattooing. And really focusing on like what that was bringing up for me, what emotions I was feeling as he was in different centers. Oh my gosh, it was the craziest thing. So tattoos can be such a healing experience. I mean, that's what like in Tahitian and Maori culture, it's like to tell your story, but also the warriors get them after battles. And, you know, it's such a beautiful thing when you learn the history of it. And then in Japan, it was, you know, for prisoners, is how they would mark prisoners.
Yeah.
But
and in Germany.
I really recommend, I would say, like, if you have a powerful tattoo, spending the time and like really letting it be an experience, like a spiritual experience. It's so powerful. Back to tarot.
No, it's cool.
It's cool.
The side a lot of the time the tangents is where you get the cool knowledge.
Cool. Oh, okay. Well, then here's another. I have a. Wait, which side is it on?
Tangents.
Oh, okay. This one. Dee-dee-dee-dee. It's
Isn't that Celtic?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was my first tattoo. Now, when I am connecting with my ancestors, that's
Irish.
It's Yep. I grab a hold of this tattoo and I'm like, all right, ancestors, I'm with you. I marked myself. This is my little ancestor portal now. And so there's that too. It's a cute little thing.
That's dope.
I really feel like your body really is your temple, and I just think it's so cool the things that people choose to put on. Like my dad's covered in tattoos, such beautiful colors and designs, and I meet people, and it's just so interesting to hear what they decide to put on their temple, because obviously
forever.
It means something to them, even if it just meant something to them in that moment. Like, it's such a powerful thing to show the world. It's vulnerable to get a tattoo, because you're really showing people a piece of yourself and they don't even know you. So sometimes I get judged, honestly.
Really?
Because I'm a white girl with like all of these
cultural
tattoos.
I was just gonna say they're all very cultural.
Yeah, but I went to India before I got my chakras, and I asked a few of the people there, like, do you think this is okay for me to do? I know other people that have done it, not that that excuses anything, but like, it's kind of a normal thing, but what do you think? And then I came home and scheduled it. Like,
cool.
I really wanted to make sure that was okay. This Egypt one, I probably could have done a little bit more research, I'm not gonna lie, but it's on me now.
And you like it.
And I like it, and there's no going back.
Screw the haters.
And yeah,
cool.
So I'll go to Egypt one day.
Yeah.
And like activate it is my goal. Of, like,
There you go.
Standing in front of, you know, something bra
Pyramids.
related or the pyramids and being like, charge my tattoo.
Charge my tattoo. Yeah.
And then it lights up in gold and
Freaking
I grow
explodes.
wings and I, yeah,
You
levitate.
grow wings.
Past, present.
Oh, wait.
Ooh.
Oh, you do them all at once?
Yeah, I do them all at once.
Okay, wait. So she's doing past, present, future now. And we got...
That'll be future. Okay, so in past, I have the Four of Pentacles. Present, I have Knight of Wands. And future, I have Three of Cups.
3 cups is good, right?
It's great, yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's, mwah. It's one of these cards where you're just like, mwah.
Mwah. Thank you. Is it gods or thank you
I say
spirituality?
God, I say universe.
Thank you, universe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear your analyzation?
Yes.
Analysis.
Analysis.
Words.
Good job.
PhD. I'm not getting a PhD.
Shout out PhD. Okay. Four of Pentacles in my past. Thank the universe that this is in my past now because I feel like I've kind of been in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Four of Pentacles is a restricted energy where he's sitting there and he has just 4 pentacles and he is holding on to them and not remaining open to maybe even receiving more because he's so focused on just like, these are my 4 pentacles. I must protect them. This is all I have. Therefore, this is all I have. So moving forward out of the 4 of Pentacles, what you want to do is start opening yourself up to receiving more or seeing new opportunities. A problem with the 4 of Pentacles is a lot of the times he has a pentacle on his head, which is connected to our crown chakra.
Can I look at it?
Yeah. So this is saying like maybe our connection to source or the universe or God is getting a little muddled in our physical concerns about maybe money or work. And for me, yes, yes, I have been worried about money. So we are releasing that and I am getting a job. Ding!
Ding! So, quick question. So
Yeah.
I had actually literally all the cards besides like this one.
Mm-hmm.
So in all the cards I have seen, you have a figure, but the figure's facing away and not showing their face.
Yes. So that was
Why is that?
That was an artistic choice of this person who made this deck.
Okay.
Usually they're all facing them, but
Is that because it's saying that it could be anyone?
that and I read about it a little bit in the booklet, but basically this artist said like they want it to be something you're stepping towards and embodying instead of something that's looking at you.
Mm.
So when something, even if I'm facing you, this is fine, but if I were to step behind you and talk at you, you would probably feel a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah?
So it's almost humanizing the people in these cards of like you're viewing them from behind because you're in that scene and they're just as vulnerable as you are in this situation where you're asking about their energies. So I actually really like that they did
crazy.
it this way. And also because like I said before, I'm trying not to use the traditional cards unless they're giving money or acknowledging that it comes from Pamela Coleman Smith.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I like that you noticed that.
It's the details.
It's all in the details. Seriously, because honestly, if you, like you've been doing, if you can just look at the card and kind of see like, okay, yeah, he's facing away from me. He has
He's
a
also
crown
looking at a
on.
mountain.
Yeah, and see?
Yeah.
So you don't have to really know anything about tarot to give an excellent, excellent tarot reading. So good on ya. Good on ya.
Good on ya.
Okay, present, Knight of Wands. Yes, is what I'm going to say. The Wands, again, it's fire, it's action, it's go and do it. And the Knights, go and do it.
And he's holding the same wand thing that the guy was holding in the stick thing, though.
Uh-huh.
They're the same things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So he is really embracing that wand, and he is going forward. These people are going on a long journey, and he is right there behind them.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Let's
go.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
It's that energy of just like, I am going on this journey, and nothing's going to stop me. And that's how I feel about lots of things right now. So, yes, I am happy that that is my present card. And looking to my future in the Three of Cups. Beautiful. Cups, again, emotion, in, feeling good. It's the vibe card.
It's the vibe.
It's the
It's the
vibes.
vibe card.
So 3 of Cups is what we're doing right here. Vibing with friends. It's a celebration. It's coming together with friends and cheersing. It's literally that. Just like, we are doing it and we're happy and we're all here for each other. And it's gathering in circle. It's, you know, having a fun conversation with friends. It's a celebration. They have a bountiful harvest around them and they're dancing in a circle. So I think I'm feeling that now, but I definitely know that the more I am in this Knight of Wands, I'm going to need some celebration after I start getting things done and having some toasts to me and my friends. So, lovely.
Lovely. Cool. All right.
Amazing.
So I have a couple more questions, but they're all like big topics.
Wonderful.
So India.
Yes.
Blend of this and science and PhD and like the psychic who has a psych degree,
Yes.
that whole idea. And then the last one is, oh gosh, wow. You know what, we'll just start with those two.
Okay.
Because that's good.
Was there any specific questions about India, or you just want me to talk about it?
Why, where, what did you learn, recommendations?
Okay. Yes. Wow. India, the woman I learned Reiki from goes to an ashram in India called Sri Narayani Peetham, where her guru is there.
Literally a guru?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. I would say, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
My take on that. But basically, we were doing Reiki one day on someone. We were doing more of like a group thing where a bunch of us were working on one of her neighbors. And all of a sudden, she was like, Melia, I think you're supposed to go to India with me, but I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I don't know. I had never been out of the country at that point.
Wow,
I had gone
India's
to Mexico.
A big,
yeah. But I don't. And
That's
I
not
was
like
like,
going
and
to-
I was like 4, I think, when that happened.
Yeah.
And
It's a
it was
big first out of
funny
the country.
because that morning I had gotten a scholarship from my community college for $700 to cover some books, but I had already paid for all my books. So I was like, okay, cool, an extra $700. How much is the ticket? $700.
Sevens.
So, and sevens, yeah. So I was like, well, there's nothing stopping me. She's going, I'm going to go. I'm going to do it.
YOLO.
And this was February of last year.
Yeah.
So COVID had kind of been a rumor. You know, it was kind of, remember when COVID first started and everyone's like, is it fake? Remember when there was just memes?
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Is this actually happening? Or
and then
like,
then it got real.
And then it got real a week into my trip at India.
Oh yeah. So you're in India.
So I'm in India.
What a place to be.
Uh-huh. And, you know, my parents don't want to scare me, but all of a sudden my flight gets canceled.
Wow.
And all of a sudden Australia is closing their borders.
Yeah.
And a lot of the devotees there are Australian, American, and Canadian. And Canada's borders were closing too. So all of a sudden everyone's like, do I stay here or do I, like, my flight got canceled. Now tickets are more expensive. Now I have to make the choice. Am I going home or am I staying here? How long is this shutdown happening? What even is COVID? Like, we didn't have Wi-Fi. We were at an ashram. Like, we didn't have the news. We had no idea what was happening in the world. At that point, when I left America, no one was wearing masks. No one, like, there was no precautions anywhere. Everything was still open. There was no mandates. And all of a sudden, everything's closing down. But we're at a temple, so what do? We go pray about it, you know? And I think that was the best way to come back into COVID, was feeling the energy of prayer and of mantra, so like chanting divine mantras. And just seeing how it was handled at the temple was super inspirational of like, okay, now I can maybe help my friends and family deal with it a little bit better, or provide more spiritual ways to soothe the situation. Because I got home, grocery stores were closed. My whole family was laid off. Like, everything was shut down. And the whole time I'm in India just praying. So that was crazy. But oh my goodness, India. I flew into Chennai, and then, which is like southwest in India. And then we drove, I think, like 2 hours to the ashram, which is in Tamil Nadu. So it's called Sri Narayani Peetham. And oh my goodness.
Crazy place, I bet.
So
I've never been there. But.
Just so insane. Honestly, I didn't really venture outside of Tamil. We went into town one day, but pretty much all day we were at the temple. walking around the temple or praying or doing different pujas, which is like their ceremonies. So there was moments there where I just knew, I was like, really look around and take it in, because you're going to want to come back to this moment. Like, and that was every second. I was like, really just be present, because this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life, or in the most beautiful way I've ever felt in my whole life. So there, like I said, it's Sri Narayani Peetam, and Narayani is a goddess that encompasses 3 goddesses, Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. And when you're there, when you greet someone, you say Om Namo Narayani, which says, like, I am surrendering to this goddess. I surrender to the universe.
Yeah.
And honestly, my favorite part of being at this temple was no matter who you crossed paths with, whether it was someone who lived there, whether it was a Canadian, an Australian, you cross their paths and you smile and you pray and you say Om Namo Narayani. And it was like, I've never felt community like that anywhere. I mean, even in the town, you enter a store, Om Namo Narayani, everywhere you go. And it's just, and it didn't matter that I was a white woman in a kurti. And you know, it was like, it excited them to be able to teach about their culture and to sit down with me and really explain why things were the way they were. And I didn't feel like it was a bad thing that I didn't know, or a bad, like, I got to come in with my ignorance and let it be transformed into like this growing knowledge.
Yeah.
And it was seen more as a gift to them. I felt like that I would come in and be open to learning about them, because I wanted to. Like, that's all I wanted to do, is just learn and hear what they had to say to me. And yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, we were usually up at like 5 a.m. chanting, and then going to ceremonies, and then doing seva, which is selfless service. So we would go and pick up trash, or, you know, just do odd jobs, maybe scrub some things, do some dishes. I really liked picking up trash on the streets, because I felt like I could really see
the difference
I was making. But India really changed things for me, and then kind of strengthened my view on other things, because when I got back, something I struggled with was this idea of a guru. And I felt the energy of Amma, who's the guru there, and how beautiful and how expansive her energy was. But I also felt like my spiritual practice was still my spiritual practice, and I didn't want to give that up to have a guru, just to have this face on my altar. I like having myself on my altar next to other things. And a lot of people that I met there kind of gave it all up to the guru. And I stand by the idea that we're all gurus in our own form. Even people that maybe don't know that much about spirituality, what they have to say, you can still learn from. And I think giving someone so much power over a spiritual practice does the same thing that religion does, in a sense, where you're really just taking what someone says as the word and not letting your own opinions affect things. I mean, even down to like the things that I wear while I pray. You know,
Yeah.
I would be so down to pray in some lingerie, and that would not be okay at all. Like that would almost taint the practice of what
Yeah.
I was doing. But for me, I am feeling good about myself, and I'm stepping into my femininity and A, B, and C. And there's certain things that when you devote yourself to being a devotee, you don't have as much control over your practice. So that's a lot of what India taught me, was like to be able to respect another culture and another person's view and really learn from it and integrate it, but also be able to say, well, that's not what I want for me necessarily, respectfully.
Yeah.
Which is hard when it's like such a big thing that a lot of people subscribe to. I mean, and a lot of people that I'm close with, and even like the woman that taught me Reiki, like I have so much respect for her. Our practices are just different. And if there's not open communication about that, it can seem disrespectful almost. But, you know, like I said, I want to pray in lingerie because it makes me feel good, and that's what spirituality for me is about.
Yeah.
Your other question, about science and
One sec.
Check the camera.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yay.
Yar. Sorry, one second.
Don't say sorry.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yay.
That's my favorite word. I've noticed I say yay at least 100 times a day.
Hey, you do you.
It's a filler for me. The same way I'm trying not to use like as much.
Yeah.
But now, anytime I sit down and do anything or start a conversation, I start by saying, yay, okay. I think
say
it's
like
great.
too much. I
We're from California. Or no, you're not.
I'm from Colorado.
You're from Colorado. Well, you're in California.
yeah, I live here now, so. But I used to be terrible at having just silence in conversation. And you use filler words like and instead of it just being quiet. But it's the most intelligent people I know think before they speak, and then they have their thoughts composed, and they don't need to use the filler.
Yeah.
So, and it's cleaner
It
and more
is.
intelligent.
It just sounds better. When I hear myself getting lost in a story and using like a lot, and I know I still do it even though I'm trying not to, I think, girl, you sound so Californian right now. It's so bad.
Bruh. Oh my goodness. But blending the psychic with the psych.
Yes. Okay.
Blending.
I think yes. Obviously, I think yes because it's my business. But
And we haven't talked about that either.
oh yeah.
So, well, and the last part I wanted to cover was sharing, how you do your social media, and that is like
Yeah.
all very well done.
Thank you.
I'll show you guys that too.
Cool.
But we can get into the business part with the sharing part because a
Cool.
lot of it's interchangeable.
So psychic with a psych degree
Yeah.
came to me when I was doing a internship at a therapy office because at first I really felt that my path to helping people was through therapy, and it still is. I still value that, and I still think that's something I will integrate with my PhD going forward in my business. But my problem with, I have a lot of problems with things, I guess. I keep saying that. But my problem with the clinical therapy was that there was no spirituality. There was no, obviously there's feeling because you're talking about your emotions, but there's no discussion of the energy of a situation or the energy of you, the energy of another person. And learning more about clinical therapy, it was just too clinical. Like, it was way too textbook. There was no wiggle room or, yeah, exactly. It was so cookie cutter almost. Every question I had, I kind of wanted a profound thing, and there was always a textbook definition. And I didn't like that. I wanted it to be open to interpretation. And with clinical therapy, it's not very open to interpretation. I mean, it is, obviously, because there's a therapist having to work with this client, but I just felt like there's so many other lenses we can look at. Like I'm saying before with, looking at a person's chart, you don't realize how much that affects someone, the sign that they were born under, and all the planets, and how the planets are affecting you at the moment. Like, there's so many different things we can integrate to help a person, which is why I think marrying the physical with the metaphysical is so beautiful, and something that I'm really passionate about is mixing textbook things with more out there things, because it makes these textbook things, or it makes these more out there ideas or universal spiritual ideas more easier to integrate into healing. And marrying things that have been practiced for decades with things that are just now being formed, it's really, I'm trying to bridge things together to make everything work together. And that has a lot to do with my education with integrative medicine, with more of the quantum realm of things, with more new age approaches, but new age approaches that cycle back to Taoist medicine and Eastern medicine. And I really just want to be this platform where science and spirituality is mixing, and kind of birthing this thing where everyone can understand that it does go hand in hand, that it doesn't have to be separate, that lab results and intuition can mesh and you can learn something from them together. So that's just one of my goals. I stepping into such a clinical realm of therapy really turned me off. And I knew that there was better ways to help people. Not that, obviously therapy helps people, and I'm not dissing on therapy. I just felt if I were to step into a therapist's office, that's not what I would want. And if I feel that way, there must be other people that feel that way too. Because I'm not, obviously everyone's unique, but the second you go through something, you have to acknowledge that a million other people go through that too. And if I were to step into a clinical therapy office, I wouldn't have been treated well. Or, you know what I mean? I would have been treated great physically, but I don't think my depression or anxiety would have necessarily been fixed. I think I needed bigger answers that spirituality can provide. And I think the structure of therapy is a great foundation to then integrate these ideas into. Is that making sense?
So you have the physical explain is the base, the foundation, and then you have the metaphysical explain what the physical can't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just as like an addition to. And that's why when I do Reiki sessions, for instance, we spend the first 20 minutes talking and coaching through problems the same way you would if you went to a therapist. But then we treat the energy body. And that's...
So you do combine.
Yeah, I combine. Yeah. Because I just feel that it's so... The marriage makes so much sense to me, and it makes sense to my clients because you're getting that emotional release, that physical release of talking it out. It's the talk therapy that you do in clinical therapy. It's putting words to emotions. It's getting it out of your mouth. It's literally, spiritually, you're emitting that vibration and you're letting it leave you. And then to marry that with Reiki, with energy healing, that's healing the auric fields, that's healing the chakras, the energy centers. Putting that together instead of keeping them separate, I mean, come on. You're getting like the best of both worlds. You're getting the full Hannah Montana experience.
The full Hannah Montana experience.
And I think that's where more people become open to it when, at least what I'm trying to produce is a platform where it makes more sense to people that might not believe in it, where I can marry ideas that they believe in, that are in textbooks, that other doctors and scientists talk about, or past foundations talk about, and then show them that, hey, this isn't that far-fetched, and it actually makes a lot of sense when you look at it next to this thing. So it gives people more reasoning to believe in metaphysical spiritual ideas.
Do your clients, what is their reaction to you? Because I feel like if you are I feel like it's more unique what you're doing because you're not advertising as one or the other, right? You're not a psychic doing psychic things just psychically. Or a therapist doing therapy. You're blending them, right? And so when you present that to a client, I feel like it would be harder to explain because you have what do you get when you go to therapy? You talk it out and then this is what you get from it. Or like from psychic, you do the tarot things and then this is like your answer. But it seems like when you combine the two, you're getting the best of both worlds, but it also makes it like so much more like it seems like it makes it more complicated.
Kind of, but also not at the same time. I think it honestly simplifies things when we can not be so rigid, but also not be so fluid. I think it's kind of this median where by marrying the two, it also gives my clients wiggle room to express themselves however they want, because I'm not just a psychic and I'm not just a psychologist, where they can say something kind of out there for the psychic part of me, or they can say something wanting a definition and the psychologist in me will respond. And I think it kind of gives more of an all-encompassing, like, I got you no matter what you say, really. Like, I got you spiritually and I got you physically.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there for you as a student and I'm going to be there for you as a lunatic. Like, like I'm giving you the full spectrum. So any time a client's coming to me, I really feel like I'm trying to give them the space where they can express themselves however they want, because I have lots of facets within my practices that support that expression and can be there for that expression, whether it's giving coaching advice that I learned from therapy or putting my hands on their throat chakra and healing the energy blockage. It gives them, you know, just more opportunities and more tools to heal, if that makes sense.
I like how you connect them. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
And then lastly, the third part of the three things you said, it was learning, application, and then sharing, right?
Yay, yeah.
And yeah. So how do you share? What are the different ways you share, and what are the benefits you found from like sharing your practice and the things that you've learned with other people?
I love sharing. I think sharing is caring. Honestly, I know that a big problem in the spiritual community involves gatekeeping, where, you know, I went to India. I went to India and I learned A, B, and C. Why should I teach you? Because I'm the one who went to India. Maybe you should just go to India. No, I went to India, and if I have the opportunity to be able to share that with someone, duh.
Yeah.
Like, of course I'm going to, because then they can share it with other people, and they can share it with other people, and then I'm being able to spread this information that helps me. And that's why, I mean, for my business, something I'm more passionate about than doing Reiki is teaching it. Because if I can teach Reiki, that person doesn't have to see me anymore. If I taught you Reiki, you wouldn't have to keep seeing me for sessions, because you would know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you could do it on your friends and your family. And then maybe they learn how to do it, and it just spreads further and further. Like, I would so much rather share what I know than keep it bottled up, because what good is it doing if only I know it?
Yeah.
Like, what good is all of this knowledge doing if it's only benefiting me? I mean, I guess it's benefiting me, but I don't, that doesn't make sense if I have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And one of my platforms is using Instagram. And
you have an incredibly well done Instagram, by the way.
Thank you.
It's so cool. Like,
Thank
so,
you.
and I have questions about that, but I'll let you finish first.
Well, yeah, that's just a platform that I use to share. I'm passionate about graphic design, but I'm really passionate about educating and making things that are easily understandable for people, hopefully, or put things in simpler terms and connect ideas or pose questions and give my view on things. I know how much I benefit when people share what they know about things. So if someone, even if one person gets a little tidbit from a post that I do on Instagram, winning, honestly, then it's great. What was your question?
So your Instagram has a very specific aesthetic.
Yes.
Number one, how did you establish the aesthetic? And how does that coordinate with who you are as a person and the color palette and also and then that leads into your business, which is based off your Instagram and all of this stuff.
Yes.
Which is what exactly?
Yeah, wow. That's
a lot of questions.
So my Instagram. Well, obviously as all Instagrams start, it was just my Instagram. And then I started my Reiki company, or small business, but company. We'll say company.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I want to say. It was a bit ago, not that long ago. And I had made a separate Instagram for that. And for a while it was fine. I would post on my personal things. Both were public. And then my Reiki things on my Reiki account. But I really felt like it caused this separation between who I was as a person and who I was as a Reiki practitioner, or who I was as a business owner. And I really wanted my brand to be me, and I wanted my brand to be my voice and not Melia, the Reiki practitioner, and then, and then here's her personal stuff. I wanted it to be my voice, and I wanted it to be obvious that that's what I was passionate about, that's what I was putting myself out there doing. So honestly, it was just a few months ago, maybe like half a year ago or so, where I combined Instagrams and changed my company name. So first it was Ignite Illusion, and Illusion is like in Greek mythology, the heaven that gods go to. So I was saying like, okay, let's ignite heaven. Let's get you to that heavenly state. That word just, I was really drawn to that word. And then I just decided I wanted to be my brand. And when I got back home from India, there was a lot of like separation in that group because, you know, I wasn't doing some of the things they thought I should be doing with the guru work and all that. And at one point, someone called me a mystic, and it felt like an insult, honestly, that I was too mystical, that I was too woo, like too up there. And finally one day I thought, you know what, I just need to embrace that because I am mystical. I'm a little woo-woo, like I'm a little weird. But that's great. Like mystical is not a bad word. So then I got obsessed with this word and I did a bunch of research about where it stems from, why it kind of turned into this maybe insulting thing in the spiritual community or not, but I felt that way about it. And finally I was like, Mystical Melia, that's it. So I changed my domain name, I changed my Instagram, and I was building my vision board before I did my Instagram aesthetic, before I started posting and like announcing that that's what was going on. And I just found these fairy wings on Pinterest that I was really drawn to, and it was like this glistening pink and light purple and kind of orangey. And I used that in the first edit I made for my website, and immediately everything was light pink. And I had no complaints against that because, as my friends know, I'm obsessed with rose quartz. It's this light pink quartz connected to the heart. It's a loving thing. And yeah, I just started doing that and then making my edits. I learned graphic stuff pretty quickly. My really close friend Cheyenne, her Instagram is @TheLunarPriest, and she does amazing graphic design and tarot and psychic offerings. And we worked a lot together when I was restarting my Instagram, so she inspired me a lot too. Yeah, but mostly I like the girly stuff, and I like kind of a lot of the topics I talk about. I think tarot can sometimes be taken as this dark thing or this esoteric, like witchy thing. And I think witch is used in such a slanderous way where, you know, you call someone a witch and she's dark and mean and moody. And I wanted to make witchy things cute and girly and pink and Care Bear, you know, and like really fluffy and light because that's how they express themselves to me. So that's my Instagram. Basically, it's pink and witchy things. What other questions were there?
Let me see real quick. Cool, we got 6 minutes. Perfect. And then also, did you want to talk about your business kind of?
Yes, my business. Well, it's ever evolving.
Yeah.
Especially
every
now,
business is.
Yeah, especially now, like with school and everything. Right now I'm learning auriculotherapy, so I'm going to be certified to do like ear seeds and ear acupuncture and acupressure. So I'm going to start integrating that into my business. Then my next class is on hypnotherapy, so I'm going to try to integrate that once I learn more about it. I just know that with my schooling, my offerings are going to just keep growing. And obviously I want to do more courses because teaching really excites me. And now that I've launched, I have a Reiki level 1 and 2 course on my website. And now that that's out, and now that I know I can do it, I just want to keep doing more and putting more out there. Yeah, all my offerings are just the ways that I know to help people. And right now that's through tarot, that's through coaching, that's through Reiki. Yeah, my business is just a platform for me to help people. And I know that it's going to evolve. My goal, and I'm going to use the podcast to manifest, my goal is to have a healing center after I get my PhD, is to open a healing center and have different types of healing, have therapy groups, have energy healing, have circles, have homeopathic doctors, and, you know, cooking, like teaching food as the medicine, and, you know, just having all these new age ways, but also like connecting back to therapy too, of healing. So that's kind of what my business is going to evolve into, hopefully, is a physical manifestation of right now my online store. But yeah, it's pretty simple, honestly. I have tarot readings on my website, Reiki offerings. That Reiki class I'm just so excited about. My blog, I have some blog posts up, but gotten a little busy on that front.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, honestly, my Instagram is my personal blog. So
yeah, no, it is
there's
for
that.
everyone's, basically. That's cool. Not everyone,
Yeah.
but a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Wow.
And any last words you have to
I
say?
don't know. I think what I would just want to say to anyone that's listening to this is thank you for listening. Thank you for being open to learning about spiritual things. Or even if you didn't get anything out of this, you still sat and listened to it. And good on ya. Look at the little lizard. Anyways.
Critters.
And, you know, if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about in this podcast, DM me on Instagram. And I will talk to you because I will, and I just said I will.
There you go.
So if you have any questions or concerns or A, B, and C, my DMs are open to you, and I will try to respond as quickly as possible. Remember, I am a Pisces. So
Which means what?
It takes me a minute to get back to text messages.
There you go.
But I will do my best. I think all in all, just do what's going to make you happy. And if that's buying a new crystal, if that's pulling a tarot card, if that's meditating, if that's chanting, if that's doing none of that and going for a walk on the beach, or, you know, screaming at the top of your lungs. It's your spiritual practice, and that means it's yours. So, and it can change every day too. What I do yesterday is not the way I want to express my spirituality today. Sometimes I express my spirituality by screaming. Or, like, you know, listening to metal music. And that's
Slayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something too, just to end this, is like, you are spiritual however you represent yourself. And when I'm in Vegas with a tight dress on, I'm a spiritual woman. When I am meditating with a tunic on, I am a spiritual woman. When I am feeling myself and dancing, I'm a spiritual woman. When I am in the bath, I am a spiritual woman. So however it comes through you, it comes through you. And you don't have to look a certain way, you don't have to act a certain way to be spiritual. Like, and that's something that I struggled with, so I don't want you to have to struggle with that. However you want to express yourself is perfect, period.
You do you.
Yeah, you do you.
I think one cool thing I took away from this that I didn't really know is that, like, with the tarot cards and then, like, what you just said about expressing yourself in different ways, it really is, like, all, like, what you want to do. Mm-hmm. I thought there was, like, a pretty, like, set way that you, like, do things, and there is, like, options too, but I think it's cool that I learned that, at least through your perspective, which I really respect, that you're so open and, like, whatever makes you feel good. Like, if you want to, like, look at a tarot card, like, I thought they all had, like, this is exactly la la la, but it's just open interpretation, and I think that's cool. So. Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That was
this
fun.
was amazing.
Thank you guys for listening, watching. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.